Come join me today as I relive and revisit the past of Louisiana and our World War II history on the POW camps that used to reside here in Louisiana, and in particular my hometown parish, LaSalle Parish. And if you are new to this channel and you like this content and you want to see more of it, please consider hitting the subscribe button and also hit the like button. Leave me a comment and let me know what you think about it. Here we have a portrait of some POWs, which their location is actually unknown, and we have some military officials beside them, and it is captioned, "Prisoners of war on work detail. The men are holding a saw and an axe used to fell timber on local farms." This is actually a map of the distribution of the major POW camps across the United States as of June 1944, a U.S. Army photo. We had camps such as the major base camp, Camp Ruston, and Ruston, Lincoln Parish, Louisiana. Camp Whitehall in LaSalle Parish, which is the one that we're mainly focusing on in this video. Camp Livingston Branch in Alexandria, Rapides Parish. Camp Calbourne Branch, Rapides Parish. Camp Beauregard Branch in Rapides Parish. Camp Polk Branch in Vernon Parish in Leesville. Camp Plauchie Branch, New Orleans. Camp Scott Branch, Lake Charles. Camp Opelousas Branch, St. Landry Parish. Camp Derrida Branch in Beauregard Parish. So let me know if you guys want me to do a future video on maybe Camp Ruston, because we're going to be able to find the most information on a major camp like that. The other camps, I'm only going to be able to find so much information and history. So let me know down in the comments. Looks like we have here a pretty rare looking aerial view of Camp Ruston, a little glimpse of what Camp Ruston looked like, and it is captioned, "Camp Ruston was one of the 5 largest international facilities established in Louisiana to house captured Axis soldiers transported to the United States during World War II. After the outbreak of World War II, Camp Ruston, which would become one of the largest prisoner of war camps in the United States." So again, if you guys would like to see and hear more information about Camp Ruston, please let me know, because I have information from articles going all the way back to 1982. And there's a lot of information on the official sites of LA Tech that have whole articles dedicated to Camp Ruston. A few people left in LaSalle Parish who remember or know that during World War II, a prisoner of war camp was stationed in the piney woods of nearby Whitehall. With the exceptions of an elder or two, the stories of the camp are long forgotten and have ceased to be told. The year was 1945, and local LaSalle landowner Joe B. Davis and his partner, like other business residents located in Louisiana, secured a contract with the U.S. Department of Defense to obtain and house German prisoners. The LaSalle site was located in the Whitehall area, and the POWs were to provide a labor force in Davis and his business partner's timber business. Whitehall POW Camp, or Stalag Whitehall, was built in 1944 to house German prisoners captured in North Africa in late 1943 in a battle between American and British troops with the Germans, in which the American and Britain defeated the impending German troops. The German term for the base camp was Stammlager, and evolved into the word Stalag, which was later coined in the reference to the camp and other camps like it. It was built on a standardized design to build similar barracks across Louisiana and other states. LaSalle Parish historian Jack Willis described the German prisoners held in the Whitehall facility as the cream of the German race, most bearing the classic Aryan Nordic feature of blonde hair and intense blue eyes. When the prisoners were reportedly interviewed and asked how they were defeated by the American and British allies, they had simply said they shrugged and replied, "Nix petrol," meaning their war machine had run completely out of fuel. Specifically, the Whitehall POW camp housed German prisoners of war. It endured for a period of 5 months from January until May of 1945. Initially, the site was surrounded by a multi-tiered fence that was topped with numerous strands of barbed wire to secure it. The compound housed 4 barracks for the prisoners who were to work as pulpwooders, harvesting the lumber from the area. The prisoners were to work in 2-man teams to cut a stack of 10 pins of wood per day. A pin consisted of a stack of wood and a foot square, being 4 to 5 feet high. 2 pins of wood equaled 2 cords of pulpwood. They provided a much needed and valuable labor source, as many area men were serving in the war effort. Stories handed down by locals from the time recounted the German prisoners' first interactions encountering poison ivy and poison oak vines that grew freely in the wooded areas in which they were working. Their fair complexions soon became victim to the plant, which put the prisoners out of commission for several days until they recovered. Entertainment was kindly provided for the imprisoned men in the form of motion pictures as an effort to acquaint them with the American culture. The movies or pictures were shown every Friday or Saturday night on a large white sheet attached to piping, which the prison security guards would erect. Whitehall's resident children would also enjoy the films, as they projected movies could be seen flickering across the screen far and wide. There was no electricity in the area until post World War II, so the large water tower was heated for designated bath times by stacking firewood around the metal structure and setting it afire to heat the water. During the occupancy of the camp, there was never any attempts of prisoners trying to escape the confinement. No armed guards or patrol animals were required because the German prisoners were treated humanely during their internment. POW letters, diaries, and post-war interviews support that most POW prisoners in the U.S. were satisfied during their confinements, as housing was adequate and they were well off and safe. Such POW camps were common during World War II and resulted from the efforts of the U.S. Defense Department to place restless German POWs in areas where they could participate and supply much needed labor. The camps also provided an outlet for the confined Germans and circumvented potential problems that could occur from vast numbers of captured enemy troops. Most were built in the South due to the higher expenses of heating the barracks in colder areas. German prisoners housed at Whitehall continued working until May 31, 1945, when the German army surrendered to America and her allies. After the war ended, the camp ceased to serve as a POW, and the prisoners were sent home to Germany. The historical accounts of the Whitehall POW camp and others like it stand in danger of being lost to time, but are nonetheless important to preserve and remember. It's a piece of history that is unique and contributes to the community that stands today. I know we're looking at a Christmas menu right here, and it's pretty insane to see how much is on here and how amazing half this stuff is. But if the Germans that was put here, if they were eating anything like this, then that's pretty insane to think that they even had that much of an option. So you can definitely tell why the Germans, the majority of them, were taken care of pretty well. So this is a German POW grave right here. His name was Ernst Paul. He apparently had died at Camp Ruston, so they buried him there for the time. None of his stuff is on record, his cause of death, his date of birth, but it is on record that I found that after the war ended, shortly after the Germans were sent home, they did return his remains back to Germany. So we're going to do a little recap of the video, and we're going to talk about some tracing key events before I do the end segment of the video. So September 1939, World War II began with the German invasion of Poland. December 1941, Japan bombs Pearl Harbor, leading the U.S. entering World War II. 1942, German POW camps spread across the U.S. June 1943, the first group of German POWs arrived in Louisiana. 1944, 621 POWs were housed in the Thibodeaux camp. May 1945, Germany surrenders, marking the end of World War II in Europe. September 1945, Japan surrenders, marking the end of World War II for the U.S. 1946, gradually, POW camps shut down with the end of World War II. Prisoners of labor in the sugarcane fields of LaSalle Parish, Louisiana, 1943 to 1944. We were each other's prisoners, Nazi prisoners of war in America. Louisiana Public Broadcasting. So here's a drawing layout of one of the POW camps. And as you can see, there's 16 barracks technically. There's 4 guard towers, there's a prison cookhouse, and a prison kitchen. And there's also a guards barrack. So this is actually a lot different than the LaSalle camp, because there wasn't even any armed guards or anything like that. So obviously this camp was a lot more guarded and protected than the LaSalle camp. This drawing replicates one by Joe Boudreaux, who lived near Main Street during the era and earned money by doing chores for the guards. According to Boudreaux, the camp was built on the land owned by the Boykin family. We're here at the location at the Whitehall Mall, which is technically now a gas station, which I will show you guys, and there is a post office here. So I was going to give you guys like a little overview of what this area looks like just to get a better understanding. But I do want to point out before I show you, I'm going to pull up a picture that shows an aerial view of this area, and I'm going to have the area that I suspect the camp was in. I'm going to mark that in a green outline. So you guys look at that green outline. I'll put a red marker where I'm at directly in front of the post office. Just to be clear, I don't have 100% accuracy on where this camp used to be, but I am going off of the coordinates and the addresses that it used to be at, and it's right in between this area right here. So surely I'm close enough. Okay, so here's the post office that I was telling you guys about. So one reason why it makes me suspicious that we are in the right area is because not only behind this area about 100 yards back, there's pretty thick pines, and the picture that I'm going to show you guys gives me a better reason to believe that it actually is hid off somewhere behind these woods. But we do have the gas station right here. You know, it's nothing too special, it's just a gas station. So that basically sums up the video, and I tried my absolute hardest on this video to get the most accurate and the most amount of information I could get for this location and my hometown. So if you guys did enjoy this, please, it would mean a lot to leave a comment, leave a like, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. In the future, if you guys want, I can go and we can make another video about, for example, the Camp Ruston camp that was a main base, that there's a lot more history and articles and information on that. So if you guys like this, please show your support. And Rebel Militia, I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for standing around to the end of the video, and as always, God bless you.